Justin Gaethje has officially responded to Ilia Topuria following the events of UFC 324, and his message left little room for interpretation. He is not intimidated, not impressed, and not backing away from anyone. Fresh off a punishing victory over Paddy Pimblett, Gaethje once again showed why he remains one of the most feared competitors in the division. The fight itself was a brutal test of endurance and resolve. Gaethje absorbed heavy shots, endured difficult moments, and still found a way to push forward. That kind of performance has become synonymous with his name. It was the type of win that reminded fans, analysts, and critics exactly who he is when the stakes are highest in the aftermath of the fight. Ilia Topuria made his presence felt almost immediately. Taking to the public stage, Topuria first directed his criticism toward Pimblett, questioning his performance and decision-making inside the cage. However, his attention quickly shifted to Gaethje. Topuria issued a direct warning, suggesting that Gaethje would not survive a matchup against him. The comments were bold, confident, and unmistakably confrontational. It was clear that Topuria was positioning himself as the next major threat in the division. Those remarks did not sit well with Gaethje. Following his grueling 5-round battle, he responded with a level of confidence that reflected both his experience and mindset. Gaethje made it clear that after enduring wars like the one he just survived, he is not concerned about verbal threats or predictions. He emphasized that challenges are exactly what motivate him. Rather than dismissing Topuria entirely, Gaethje addressed the situation head-on, making it known that he is prepared for anyone placed in front of him. More notably, Gaethje revealed a significant behind-the-scenes detail involving the UFC's plans moving forward. According to Gaethje, the promotion has its sights set on stacking as many undisputed title fights as possible on the upcoming White House card. He explained that if Topuria is unable to return in time to compete on that card, the UFC is prepared to strip him of his title. Gaethje stated that in that scenario, he would be the one fighting for the undisputed belt and would even defend it himself if necessary. The revelation added an entirely new layer of intrigue to an already tense situation. Gaethje also shared his thoughts on a potential matchup with Topuria. While he acknowledged Topuria's power and aggressive style, he pointed out that such explosiveness often comes with inherent risks. Gaethje believes that Topuria commits heavily to his strikes and leaves openings as a result. At the elite level, those mistakes are costly. Gaethje expressed confidence in his ability to exploit those openings, whether through striking exchanges or by turning the fight into a wrestling-heavy battle if required. For Gaethje, this type of challenge is exactly why he competes. Win or lose, he thrives in high-pressure situations and embraces the biggest fights available elsewhere in the division. Diego Lopes has addressed his upcoming rematch with Alexander Volkanovski, a bout that has generated mixed reactions among fans. While some believe the first fight already answered all necessary questions, others have expressed interest in seeing whether Lopes can show tangible improvement. With Volkanovski approaching the later stages of his career, there has been debate about whether a rematch is the right move. Lopes, however, sees the fight as a massive opportunity rather than a setback. Reflecting on their first meeting, Lopes admitted that the bout was far more challenging than he initially anticipated. He credited Volkanovski's elite movement, sharp fight IQ, and flawless execution on fight night. According to Lopes, everything Volkanovski planned worked perfectly. Lopes acknowledged that he struggled to commit to certain aspects of his game, particularly takedown attempts. Volkanovski's positioning and footwork made every entry difficult, and Lopes admitted he lacked confidence in those moments. Since that loss, Lopes says he has completely restructured his approach. He identified weaknesses in his previous camp, removed distractions, and implemented major changes to how he prepares. One of the most significant adjustments was the creation of a private gym exclusively for himself and his team. The facility includes a dedicated cage in a controlled environment, allowing Lopes to focus entirely on preparation without outside interference. He believes this change alone corrected many of the issues that plagued his first camp. Lopes explained that his confidence in wrestling has grown significantly. He emphasized that this confidence is not rooted in emotion or ego, but in repetition and refined technique. If opportunities present themselves in the rematch, Lopes believes he will be able to successfully secure takedowns. Looking back, he admitted that ego played a role in his previous loss. He entered the first fight believing his preparation was already sufficient. Afterward, he realized that several aspects of his camp were not at the level required to defeat an elite opponent. This time, Lopes insists that everything has been addressed. He promises fans that the rematch will not be a repeat of the first encounter. According to Lopes, he has leveled up across the board and is prepared to approach the fight on his own terms. For him, this second chance represents an opportunity to prove that growth and adjustment can change outcomes at the highest level. Meanwhile, Israel Adesanya is preparing for his return to the octagon as he headlines UFC Seattle on March 28th against rising middleweight knockout artist Joe Pyfer. The fight marks Adesanya's first appearance since suffering a shocking second-round knockout loss to Nasruddin Imavov. That defeat raised serious questions regarding his timing, durability, and long-term future as he approaches his late 30s. The loss was particularly surprising given how early it occurred, reigniting debate around Adesanya's chin and whether recent setbacks are beginning to accumulate. At 36 years old, Adesanya now finds himself in what many consider a crossroads fight. Despite the concerns, he remains one of the most technically gifted strikers in MMA. Known for precise distance management and elite counter-striking, Adesanya is fully aware of the challenge in front of him. Across the cage stands Joe Pyfer, a younger, explosive power puncher who has quickly built momentum. Pyfer carries dangerous one-shot knockout power and has rebounded strongly from his lone UFC loss. Adesanya openly acknowledges the threat. He recognizes that this matchup reflects a familiar UFC strategy, pairing a rising contender with an established name to determine whether the veteran still belongs among the elite. Adesanya explained that he has seen this pattern many times throughout his career. Sometimes it works in favor of the newcomer, and sometimes it doesn't. According to Adesanya, this is simply the nature of the sport. When asked about Pyfer's online trolling, including an AI-generated image that stirred controversy after respectful exchanges, Adesanya brushed it off. He described it as modern nonsense and a reflection of the digital age. Fake images, edited clips, and online provocation have become commonplace. Adesanya emphasized that nothing should be taken too personally anymore. Technology has changed how fighters interact and attempt to get under each other's skin. Focused and realistic, Adesanya made it clear that his priority is what happens when the cage door closes. For him, this fight is not about social media chatter. It is about proving that he still belongs at the top level of competition. The middleweight division continues to heat up, with Brendan Allen and Dricus du Plessis emerging as two of the top contenders without clear next matchups. With Khamzat Chimaev holding the belt and most of the division's elite already booked, the two appear to be on a collision course. Years of tension and trash talk have only fueled speculation about a potential showdown. In a recent interview, Allen stated that du Plessis is the most logical next opponent. He expressed frustration with what he perceives as delays and mixed messaging, suggesting that du Plessis's public comments do not always align with private discussions. While du Plessis has responded confidently, saying he would gladly fight Allen if the UFC books it, he has also questioned whether the matchup is the fastest route back to championship gold. Allen enters the potential bout with significant momentum. At UFC Vancouver last October, he stepped in on short notice against Reinier de Ridder, a heavily favored rising contender. Despite being the underdog, Allen dominated the fight with relentless pressure, wrestling, and ground and pound. The performance was so one-sided that de Ridder's corner stopped the fight before the fifth round. When breaking down du Plessis' style, Allen acknowledged his toughness and unpredictability. He credited du Plessis for finding ways to win, even when fights appear messy or unconventional. Still, Allen believes the key is simply getting him into the octagon. Allen expressed strong confidence in how the fight would unfold. He believes he holds advantages in striking, grappling, and overall control. If the bout becomes a 5-round main event, Allen is confident it will not reach the final bell. Ilia Topuria also shared his reaction to the Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett fight shortly after it concluded. Taking to social media, Topuria offered a blunt assessment. While he congratulated Gaethje on the win, he delivered sharp criticism toward Pimblett. Topuria questioned Pimblett's inability to capitalize on what he described as a career-defining opportunity. According to Topuria, Pimblett failed to defeat an older opponent and missed the easiest path to the biggest payday of his career. Topuria framed the loss as a major setback, suggesting Pimblett may struggle to recover. After addressing Pimblett, Topuria turned his attention back to Gaethje. While offering brief congratulations, he issued a warning, stating that the outcome would be very different if they were to fight. In Topuria's view, no amount of preparation would save Gaethje from what he considers an inevitable result. The comments immediately sparked debate among fans. Some praised Topuria's confidence and fearlessness, while others criticized the disrespectful tone. Whether calculated promotion or genuine belief, his remarks added fuel to an already intense lightweight discussion. By congratulating Gaethje while simultaneously predicting his downfall, Topuria made it clear that he sees himself as the next major threat in the division. Dana White has also revealed new details regarding the sudden cancellation of the lightweight bout between Alexander Hernandez and Michael Johnson. The fight was removed from the card without explanation, prompting widespread speculation. White has now confirmed that the decision was made due to suspicious betting activity. According to White, the UFC was alerted by the Gaming Integrity Service, which monitors irregular wagering patterns. Once notified, White made the immediate decision to pull the fight. He explained that the promotion has dealt with similar situations in the past and was unwilling to take risks. White confirmed that federal authorities, including the FBI, are already involved in monitoring betting integrity across combat sports. This particular case will likely be reviewed as part of a broader investigation. However, White admitted that details remain unclear. It is not yet known whether the investigation involves one fighter, both fighters, or external parties connected to the betting activity. White also stated that he does not know whether Hernandez or Johnson will face any immediate consequences while the investigation continues. Finally, Michael Chandler has addressed what may be next for him following Dana White's latest comments regarding Conor McGregor. Chandler has endured years of uncertainty while waiting for the long-anticipated matchup. White recently reiterated that McGregor is not scheduled to return against Chandler, further complicating the situation. In a recent interview, Chandler discussed his mindset. Despite repeated setbacks, he admitted he still holds hope that the fight eventually materializes. From his perspective, it remains the most logical option. However, Chandler also acknowledged that the fight may never happen. If that door closes, his focus will shift to securing another major matchup as soon as possible. Chandler mentioned potential interest in fights involving Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, and Arman Tsarukyan. He emphasized that his priority is returning to the octagon for a meaningful, high-profile bout. Regardless of the opponent, Chandler says he is ready for whatever opportunity comes next and hopes clarity arrives sooner rather than later.